Hi, Holly. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. Hi.
Well, first of all, you are doing a tour around some festival with Sunflower Girl. Congratulations for that.
Thank you. Yes.
Well, you are currently exhibiting in Buenos Aires. So how is the festival race going?
Yeah, I mean, it's really exciting because we actually finished shooting our film 2 years ago. Like this week, it's like 2 years officially. So we've been in so many countries and, continents around the world. Like we started in Sweden, in Europe, and then, now we're in South America. We were in Asia, and we've been in North America. So it's been like around the world, and we had our home premiere last month. So
Wow. Okay, so I guess that hit especially, yeah, especially for you. I guess. So, what would you say is that Sunflower Girl has that you could show it around the world and everybody understood it, loved it the same way?
yeah, I mean that's a good question because I think when we started, it's like a very personal film that's like based in, I'm from New York City in the States, and it's like a very American, like Asian American experience. And so we didn't, anticipate that people everywhere around the world would relate so much to it. And I think like that's like the best thing I've found visiting like these festivals, speaking to audience members and especially like children around the world, where like they didn't experience like what I did growing up or what my peers, like the people working on the film, experienced. But I think like just the universal story of growing up and encountering, love and your family and friends at that age in your life, I think speaks to everybody and not just here in New York. So I think that's the best like thing I've found from touring the festivals. And yeah.
Yeah, I guess it has a 90 vibe in color, in sound, So I guess people our age can relate to that a little bit more.
Yeah.
It hits close to home, I guess. Even in Spain, I was saying I live in a rural area, not so many buildings, so high, and it was like it was like this when I was that age. It's the same. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's because you get the feelings, you get the responsibilities of being maybe
Mhm.
uh, the older brother, the older sibling. So you need to decide which is going to be family or friends. So I guess that hits home every time. So I guess everybody could relate a little bit, but you were saying that it's close to you. Maybe some experiences went down. It was a skate, one of them, or did you choose that because of the atmosphere?
Yeah, I think both. I think I did like do, skating, but not like so much like the boys in the
Mhm.
film, where like I did a lot of like roller skating, rollerblading, scootering. I had a skateboard, but I think with the skateboard specifically, I felt kind of intimidated to skate in public, like, or go to a skate park or talk
Mhm.
to like the boys, like who were in like the people represented in the film were the people I was intimidated by. And I think Rosie was like someone who I wish I could have been when I was younger at that age. Like she seemed like really cool. Like she was like the cool girl that like I wish I could have been, I think. So I think, yeah, knowing people in New York who skated, but I also did, but I wasn't as cool as I think the main character.
So, why did you film this short? Because I guess it's really in particular. You know what I mean? Like the story is kind of consolidated. It's short, but
Hmm.
with tons of things to say. But what made you like I need to film this?
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it during the pandemic, like the quarantine during that
Yeah.
time. So I had moved back home to New York City. I didn't live here for a long time, and so I think like coming back to the city, and you know there was no one really around in New York City at that time in 2020. It was I'm sure you've seen like videos on the internet of it
Yeah.
being really empty. Yeah, it was like that. So it was really weird to be here then, and I think like walking around the neighborhood I lived in growing up, the school, reminded me of like the memories of growing up and the people who used to be here, and there was no people there, and so kind of reconnecting with my memories, but also like a different New York and a different like time where life was so different. Like life has changed so much now, and I think I felt like I needed to kind of capture like what you were saying, the 90s or like our time growing up. Like I felt like it was like a big moment, I think, for our generation of like the past, and then now we're moving into a different time. So I think that was what I felt like I needed to capture.
Yeah, it feels like another life, like going back and your memories is like so many has changed that
Yeah.
it's like so many things has changed. It's not the same. People do not behave the same. Streets are not the same, and people do not play outside. Children do not play outside, so it's kind of
Yeah.
different. Yeah, but I guess everywhere is the same. Even if you are over there, nice across the pond, is the same. So where did you find your actresses and actors? Because I have to say it, Malia Emma is amazing. She has such a presence. She is the cool girl, really.
Yes. Yeah. Malaya is very, very talented, and yeah, I think like the cast like is the film wouldn't have been, I think the same impact if like it didn't have this chemistry that we had with everyone who was cast in the film. And everyone who we cast came from a different I guess like way of finding them. We found
Mhm.
Malaya, we found from I think that year a movie she was in came out after Yang, and I had went to see it. And my casting director and producer asked me if I could like name any young, Asian child or younger actor who like stood out to me like in recent years, to just like make a list of people to contact for ideas, because we were auditioning local actors, but we wanted like a wider net. So I had said that I saw this movie and this actor was like amazing in it. So they just like contacted her team on IMDb Pro, and she was like really interested in being in it after reading the script. She actually wrote the song that plays at the end of the film and sang it in her audition to us. So yeah, so she
Points
was
for
like,
her.
yeah. So that was like really stood out above. We saw so many, and then I was like, okay, she's definitely the one for the main role. Like we couldn't see anyone else being Rosie. And then the boys, it was tougher because they had to be good at skateboarding. Cairo, the lead actor who plays her crush, we posted on social media like a casting call for skaters, and
That's
his
cool.
mom saw it, and she said, "This is my son," and so he came from Florida up to film it at the time, and
Yeah.
and then his best friend, the character Cooper, he's local to New York City, and he was skating at a skate park that the owner basically street cast him for the role. So he's never acted before this movie, and now he goes to a school for film. So I'm happy that
It's pretty good. Yeah.
yeah,
You didn't
yeah,
say.
yeah.
You took him from a park, So yeah, because they look really fresh. The dialogues are really fresh. So that's maybe part, why they are like that. And I really loved the small child. So she is authentic as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yeah, and so yeah, the little sister and the
Little sister,
mom.
yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were local actors. We cast from backstage the website, and they've been in several shows and local other films. So that was like how we got them. And the mom was Fanny, and that was a little tougher because she had to speak Cantonese. But
Yeah.
again, they're local actors that we found that way. So everyone came from a different way of finding.
So how was filming? Because everybody is from so different places. How did they manage to move along with you? Because some of them are actors, some of them are not. So I guess it's tricky to manage that setting while filming.
Yeah, I mean, I think it actually, so like I think I was I thought about that before. We had some, this was still like a lot of COVID restrictions were going on when we were filming, because it was 2 years ago. So we had a lot of like Zoom auditions and a table read and some like one-on-one meetings that we had, like kind of Zoom rehearsal before, and then we only had like 1 or 2 days of like in-person rehearsal. And I think like the in-person rehearsal was a way for we most of us were together, the actors, so they got to know each other, and I think like the chemistry kind of formed, like it was there even in the table read, but I think like being together in person, I think that helped, especially like the people who didn't have as much acting experience get their like feet wet. And then I think when we were filming it was very natural. It felt like everyone got along really well. And I know Cairo and Daniel, like the boys are really good. They're good friends now, and everyone just, they got along together very well. It was good.
So were you thinking of this short film as a way to make Sunflower Girl a feature film, or it's just a short story? It's something else.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I am working on the feature scripts of the film now. Yeah, so that's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see it, really.
Yeah, me too. Yes, hopefully, everything will come together. But yeah, it's a long process, and I'm really happy actually that like after the screenings that at the short film at festivals, I have people come up to me after who are like asking me the same thing. They're like, is this, I could see, like, I want to know more. I want to know like when they, the family at home and the dynamic. And I'm like, well, I'm working on a longer version. So I'm happy that it seems like people really want to see more of the world of the characters.
Yeah, because sometimes you get to a screening and you have a short film and it's just like that, it's a whole entity. But sometimes you leave the room feeling like you want to see more, you want to know more about those characters and about the world they lived in. And I really loved the photography, the cinematic. So I guess that I was hoping that I could see more of that, because sometimes these stories, all of us know them because they are regular stories, people just living and passing by, through Earth. But I really love the cinematic, the color. So did you work the color palette beforehand? Because I guess you needed sunsets, you needed special lighting for that.
Yeah, so our cinematographer, Michael Kong, he made a like a LUT, I don't for the camera. So basically that was like the color preset that was a preview of, what we had, or really he created like the palette. Like we discussed, I gave him some, mood board and everything, but he kind of developed the theme of the palette, which plays very heavily on like the color theme of like a sunflower, where it's like warm and there's like some green. And that was like the temporary look, but then we did have a colorist, like a color house of Company 3 work on our film, and me and Michael worked with the colorist to kind of amplify the LUT he already developed, like the color he already had for it, and to what you see now, which I think, it looks amazing. And they're very good, this company. And Michael's fantastic too. Michael's amazing.
Yeah, so it really looks fantastic.
Thank
so
you.
in here you've written, you've directed as well, and you are producing the whole thing. So which one of these roles was difficult to do for you?
Yeah.
Which one is like, wow, this was too much to do?
Yeah, I would definitely say producing. I have another producer, Seika, who was like the main producer on the pre-production production of the film. I'm so thankful for that, because I wouldn't be able to do all of it. But even now, like I'm producing like kind of through post, and like with festivals, like I'm really producing it, and that every day I'm like, this isn't natural for my brain, because I'm more of a creative person. I think writing and directing come naturally, and producing is a lot of spreadsheets and numbers and things like that, and that's harder for me to do.
So which part do you feel comes easier when you are filming? Do you love having everything on your mind, everything set, we need to do this, or do you like maybe flowing?
Yeah, I think we kind of did a combination of both when we were filming. And I think I work like well to do both. I'm not very strict, except when it comes to like, there's like kind of a way I do it is that there's a like need to have list of like, we must get these shots like in the day, or else the story won't make sense, like for the sake of the story of the film. And then if we have time, which like I think working with a really good first assistant director like is very helpful to like help keep me on track. Like my assistant director Janita, like she did such a great job of kind of helping me focus on, we have to get these shots that are important, and then me and Michael will want to shoot like, oh, the sky looks really good now, or like there's these skaters in the back and let's just shoot them. And then she's like, okay, at the end of the day, like we have to, we have the actors, we have the time. And so I think having especially child actors kept us on schedule of like knowing they had to be in school too when we were shooting, so we had to like take them off set and give them their schooling hours. So like basically planning in between all of like the regulations like gave us some time to do like some artistic choices where me and Michael could kind of do whatever, or like depending on the scene, like there were some scenes where I let the actors improvise some things, which helped I think with the dialogue. So it really it depended on the day, but I like doing both.
Okay, because I guess it needs a lot of planning, but sometimes like when things flow it gets more natural that way. So I would say, so could you tell me a little bit about clothing, the makeup, the things that you had in mind, I need this, this, and this to feel like it's back in time?
Yeah, that's a good question. We worked with our costume designer or stylist, Anne Wong. She's a friend of my producer, and she kind of presented a bunch of options. Like she read the script and then had all these options presented. She drew sketches of the characters too, and we were really lucky. We partnered with a skateboard brand. We didn't end up using their designs for the boys because the sizes were too big, but it still like helped inform, I guess, Dan's research for kind of skate clothing, like kind of oversized. A lot of it was very oversized look, as you can see, like for the three main characters. And so, yeah, I think Dan picked things that were like kind of that retro, like faded distress look, especially for the boys, like Daniel's shirt. And also for Malaya, that was the only, or Rosie, Malaya's character, that was the only character where I had sketched like a mock-up of, I always saw, like, it was in the script, like Rosie's clothes were actually, I wrote it in that she had a yellow shirt, she had oversized blue denim jeans and a pair of sneakers that like could be skated in. So then Dan kind of presented options for a yellow, blue jeans and like sneakers and then on the fitting day, Malaya tried on all different sets of yellow shirt, jeans and sneakers until the one that she's wearing in the film. And that was like kind of just the fitting and the script. And the makeup, we worked with Kaya. She is the makeup artist. And I feel like Kaya kind of knew right away the look I wanted, which is very natural. And she also added some freckles for Rosie, which I didn't write that in, but I had kind of imagined that. But so Kaya just did it and was like, yeah, because she'd be in the sun skating. So she might have some freckles on her face.
Yeah, the small details, when you are watching it, you never get to think about that freckles. It's just they are there. You just imagine that it's the girls freckles, but obviously it's not. Sometimes it's not. So that's the kind of the magic of cinema, that you make and you add and you rest some things out. So I really enjoy the whole cinematic, and the cinematography was beautifully done. I think it's going to be beautiful in a feature film.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, so to sum up a little bit of this, one last question. What would you like for the audience to be moved or to feel when they leave the screening room?
I think for the audience to take away from the film, I would say, and I think that a lot of audience members have had this experience, which I think I feel like rewarded, which is that, and I think even when we were talking, just you feel like some kind of connection to your inner child, like it kind of connects to a part of yourself that's like a memory, or it's connecting there, and it's kind of making it feel in touch with yourself and alive. That's kind of, I think, what I hope for people to take away from it, to be in touch with their inner child and remember memories from when they were growing up. I mean, even if the film isn't their memory, it is like a way to reconnect with yourself when you were young. I think that creating a line between who you are now and who you were when you were younger, I think that's definitely the core.
I certainly hope that that's the feeling. I had that, so I guess that it would happen for most of people as well.
Yeah.
Well, Holly, thank you so much for having us, for take a little bit of your time to speak with us. And I really hope it really goes well, and we can talk in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Okay. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anytime. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.